This is KGW News at Sunrise.
It was a relief in one way, but really emotional otherwise, because she's my sister.
After 30 years, relatives are finally getting closure after police identify a woman's killer. Coming up this morning, a look at the cold case and what it took to crack it.
Then Moderna recalling thousands of vaccine doses, but not in the U.S. Our Verified team looks at what went wrong in the supply chain to contaminate those doses in Spain.
We nicknamed it the Willy Wonka of paint, so there is a lot of commotion going on.
Brenda, I know you love chocolate.
Absolutely.
But again, there is no chocolate in this story. This local factory we're taking a look at is all about turning leftover latex paint into new paint. So we're going to continue this week's Good Energy series with a look inside Metro Paint's paint recycling factory. That's coming up at 5:15.
It's like a fun, messy job. Yeah.
Of paint.
But
I
you don't
love that.
eat it, to be clear.
No.
No, Rod, you don't eat the paint.
Well, everything we said about the story
Just
alludes to
explain
things
something.
that you eat.
Yeah.
The Willy Wonka of non-edible paint.
Oh my gosh.
Let's
What
be
colors
clear.
are on your radar? How about focusing on that?
Listen, hey, you guys are the ones throwing out all these food metaphors. All right, we have clouds offshore, thick stuff starting to come in. No rain reaching the ground yet, but the rain will be developing later this morning, and it's going to be a pretty rainy afternoon, much like we saw yesterday. 43, there are some of you in the 30s, as we have been dry overnight with some breaks in the cloud cover. We'll say 42, a dry start at the bus stop with clouds sticking up. Absolutely a wet mess at noon and outdoor recess at that time. 47 degrees, and then still pretty much raining through at least 3 p.m. this afternoon. It will be cool with temperatures at that time only about 48 degrees.
All right, thank you, Rod. We start this hour of news with a major break in a cold case involving a Clackamas County woman who went missing nearly 30 years ago. Her disappearance and her death are connected to the serial killer known as the Happy Face Killer.
So her family is understandably struggling with that realization. But what's remarkable here is their direct role in how investigators finally solved the case. Here's Catherine Cook.
It's exciting and sad at the same time, and a relief to finally have an answer.
It's been 30 years since Don Benthen's aunt, Patricia Skipple, vanished.
It was just like without a trace,
Patsy, as they called her, was 45 years old at the time and lived in Colton, Oregon. In 1993, a truck driver spotted her remains on the side of a highway in the San Francisco Bay Area. But no one knew who she was.
There was nothing left except bones.
Patsy's older sister, Gloria White.
It's just a really hard pill to swallow to know that she was laying there and also that she was unidentified for so long.
Decades would pass before Patsy's name would be connected to those remains. But 13 years after the body was found, the name of her killer became clear. Keith Hunter Jesperson, a.k.a. the Happy Face Killer. In 2006, Jesperson, already in an Oregon prison on several murders, wrote to the DA's office and confessed.
This case is really unique because it's not often that you have a conviction for murder without knowing who the victim is.
Sergeant Shannon Catalano is assigned to the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Cold Case Unit. She is the latest in a long line of investigators who tried tirelessly to name this Jane Doe. But Catalano had something the others didn't: Don Benthen's DNA.
They were searching, for some answers,
2 years ago, Don got an Ancestry DNA kit for Christmas. He uploaded the results. The first ping he got came from Sergeant Catalano's team. They asked if he'd be willing to post the results on GEDmatch, a national DNA database where investigators could access it.
They didn't tell me why. So I was a little bit hesitant about doing it. It's just the detectives were doing some research and they wanted my DNA, and I was going, wow, I wonder what that's all about,
Don said yes. So did his sister. With help from the DNA Doe Project and about 2 years of work, they finally knew the woman by the road was Patsy Skipple. Last week, Sergeant Catalano flew to Oregon to tell her family.
It was a relief in one way, but really emotional otherwise, because she's my sister.
It was very moving to be able to meet with them and give them those answers that they deserve. And there's many more John and Jane Does who deserve to get their name back.
And they all worked hard to find the answer, and never gave up. That's the biggest thing about it, is they never gave up.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Turning now to an update on a story we've been following for a couple weeks now. The suspect in a deadly shooting from under the Burnside Bridge is no stranger to police. They arrested that same suspect less than 2 weeks earlier for a violent assault in the Old Town district. His name is Rizzo Lucas, and he's being held without bail now. So let's back up to the first case from late March. Court documents indicate Lucas was one of several men who repeatedly kicked and punched a man near Northwest 2nd and Cooch, March 28th. Police arrested Lucas, and he posted bail. So a week and a half later, on the 8th, the deadly shooting happened under the Burnside Bridge. Court docs say Lucas shot another man in the face. And soon after, we heard from a witness who found the victim.
He did drop right there next to the bridge. When I seen him drop in the ground, I was like, hey, man, stay awake. Don't just lay down.
Officers arrested Lucas a short time later. There's more here. Since his latest arrest, Lucas is accused of attacking a corrections deputy. That deputy has minor injuries.
A Portland family is mourning the deaths of 2 teenagers and 2 adults killed in a wrong-way crash. We talked to the mother of the 2 teens, Sadalyn Wynn. The father of the 2 teenagers was driving on April 10th. His car veered out of his lane on Highway 18 and collided with an oncoming RV. He died along with their 13-year-old daughter, 19-year-old son, and their grandmother. Support is now pouring in on GoFundMe with a page set up by Wynn's co-workers at Legacy Emmanuel Hospital.
This is a mother's worst nightmare. But it's worse if I had to grieve alone, and everybody's grieving with me, and I appreciate everybody.
And there are many, some complete strangers who've sent food and flowers and donations. If you'd like to help, we'll link to that support page in the article. You can find it right now, listed as one of the top stories on KGW.com.
All right, let's get to some other local headlines this morning. We now know the name of the suspect shot by U.S. Marshals in southeast Portland on Monday. He's 23-year-old Roman Culver. Authorities say Culver was wanted for several crimes in Washington, including robbery and assault. Marshals say when they went to arrest him, he tried to escape and wound up ramming his car into several police cars. An officer who was caught between the vehicles shot Culver in the neck. He's in the hospital, Culver is, and another man who was in the car with Culver suffered minor injuries. Meanwhile, the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office is looking for help as they gather information on a string of recent home burglaries. They say vacationing homeowners are the targets here. The most recent cases happened earlier this month, one in Happy Valley, the other one in West Lynn. So before you go on vacation, sheriff's deputies recommend either installing an alarm system with surveillance cameras, installing a timed lighting system that can make it look like someone's home, or at the very least, they say, ask someone you trust to keep an eye on your house. And one more headline here. Take a look at this truck that crashed into a house in Northwest Portland yesterday. Believe this? This is less than a mile from the intersection of Northwest Cornell and Miller.
Oh, no.
What we don't know is how the heck this happened exactly, but you can see clearly the corner of that box truck going right through the window of that home in the front there. Again, this was Northwest Portland yesterday by Cornell and Miller, and that's a look at some of this morning's local headlines.
Also this morning, a warning from Multnomah County and Oregon health officials. They are reminding people about the risk of eating certain fish in the lower Willamette River. We're talking about the stretch between Kelly Point Park and the Selwood Bridge, or from the Multnomah Channel to the Sauvie Island Bridge. Fish in that area could contain toxins, specifically PCBs. Those chemicals come from industrial runoff that ends up in the fish. Now, you should avoid eating carp, catfish, bass, and clams from the affected areas. If you do risk it, at the very least, throw away the parts of the fish most likely to contain those toxins.
There's some cultures that eat the whole body, like they'll cut up the whole fish, including the internal organs, and make it into kind of a fish stew. And the problem with that is that a lot of those internal organs have a lot of fat in them, and so a lot of the PCBs will be with that fat.
The PCB contamination has potentially long-lasting health effects, including a suppressed immune system, liver and thyroid issues, and a higher chance of diabetes and heart disease.
It's often considered a bedroom community of Portland.
Hey, this morning we are talking all about Gresham. Did you know it is the 4th largest city in Oregon? And where does the name come from? Our Devin Haskins will join us with a new edition of What's in a Name coming up here at 5:45.
Have you ever heard of the phrase bedroom community?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a suburb.
Yes.
Suburb.
Darn it. Usually you're with me at least. Now I stand alone.
Right. Just think of it as a suburb. Yeah.
There you
They
go.
probably, I don't know, it must not be you grew up in Philadelphia area, they must not use that term up there.
Either that or I'm not well read.
No.
I know about the living room Portland has down there at Pioneer Court,
Yes.
where I just never heard of the phrase bedroom community.
There we go.
Well, if you have a living room, you probably have a bedroom, for crying out loud. There's a look at the satellite picture. All right, we're looking at lightning strikes. We can see these on satellites. That's kind of cool. I mean, years and years and years ago, there was no way to tell there was lightning out in the Pacific, and now satellite imagery, we can see it. So there's a lot of lightning right there, and that is energy that's going to be flowing into our area later tonight into tomorrow. Now, ahead of that is the main cold front that will come in later this afternoon, early this evening, and the thick cloudiness will bring us, I think, mostly steady rain during the heart of the day today. So the thicker clouds are just now starting to come in. I'm not getting reports yet of rain reaching the ground, and the forecast for the Rose City, wet mainly between about 10 and 4. That's fairly steady stuff, 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain, similar amounts expected along the coast. And then later tonight, not this evening, like not at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, but later tonight, thunderstorm chances start to develop. And there could be strong storms actually going into early tomorrow morning. And then during the day tomorrow, this will be scattered precipitation, but there's reason to believe we'll see thunderstorms develop. And there could be some strong winds with damaging wind gusts of 50 miles per hour or higher and some hail. Kind of an isolated storm threat that we're following, but FYI on that. Here's a look at Futurecast today. Here comes the rain, 9 o'clock this morning. Just pouring everywhere for the most part at 1 p.m. And then we're getting into the back edge of it around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And then once we get into the evening, there's probably a lull and some quiet time behind the front. So if you have plans at 7 o'clock tonight, there's actually a good chance you'll find dry weather, just some brief scattered light showers around. Temperatures out there currently with the cloudiness just starting to really come in and thicken up. Salem 39, you were at 37, 43 in Portland, 30 degrees over in Bend this morning. 7-day forecast numbers, the rainy day today, the scattered storm threat tomorrow, and then Friday, Saturday, and I think Sunday still dry, although there is some questions about Sunday. Keep an eye on that, and then we have rain coming in on Monday and Tuesday. All you bedroom communities out there, rain's coming today. We'll be back in just a moment.
Good one.